Hi, we're Group 2, and our group flash talk is on mercury poisoning in the Minamata, Japan. Minamata disease was a public health crisis that occurred in the mid 1900s due to individuals consuming extremely high levels of mercury in their fish products. The community of Minamata was puzzled when all of a sudden a large number of residents were experiencing symptoms such as numbness of limbs, shaking, deafness, seizures, blindness, and overall declines in cognitive function. They soon discovered the reason for this mysterious symptoms was what is now known as Minamata disease. The disease is a result of mercury poisoning, which came as a result of the Chizo Corporation, a chemical company, polluting the Minamata Bay with 27 tons of mercury in a span of about 30 years. This led to the fish in the Minamata Bay contracting high levels of mercury that were unsafe for consumption. However, the residents of Minamata did not know this until it was too late, and about 2,000 individuals died from this terrible disease.
The impact that the Minamata disease left on the community was catastrophic. Although mercury dumping ended in the late 1960s, there were lasting painful side effects of the disease that continued into the next generation due to over 30 years of poisoning the Minamata region. A cause of the spread into the next generation is because pregnant women who have the disease can pass it on to their unborn child. While the prevalence of this disease has declined rapidly since the 1960s, it still holds an important lesson for everyone today. This important lesson includes ensuring that public health officials, scientists, and researchers continued to attempt to alert the public about what is harmful to our health and our Earth. In the past, government officials and corporations repeatedly put citizens in harm's way for profit or power. As a result, it is so important that we remember the tragedy of Minamata and prevent similar events from happening in the future.
As for the target population, pregnant women, infants, and children under the age of 6 are considered at a higher risk since mercury mainly affects the nervous system and can have a huge impact on the brains that are still in development. Mercury also affects kidneys, so people that have kidney disease are at higher risk to have more severe symptoms. Moreover, those that have worked in mercury-related industry also have a longer exposure to the neurotoxin and are at higher risk of getting mercury poisoning, by which we define mercury poisoning by those that have blood mercury levels at higher than 10 microgram per liters.
Our outreach strategy would come from the Japanese government and the public health department in that community. The goal is to limit the consumption of fish, which is known to be have high levels of mercury. Initially, the public health department would want to limit the fish consumption by restricting the catching and selling of that fish, and additionally, the distribution to other communities so that it does not spread. After doing that, they would want to target the people who are eating those fish. And so to do that, they would probably want to target fisheries, fish restaurants, and any kind of supermarket that sells fish. And to do that, they would want to do notices or announcements or things like that. Additionally, since this affects everyone, they would want to contact doctors who could look out for symptoms and also community leaders that could reach out to their respective communities in order to tell them to not eat these kinds of fishes because of the high levels of mercury poisoning that was going around. Additionally, pregnant women and children are more at risk, and so the outreach strategy would want to target them, especially for pregnant women. We would want to reach out to OBGYN offices and have them send out letters or notices to pregnant women. And that could take the form of flyers, pamphlets, auditory announcements, just checking in during visits, or actually sending a letter home. Additionally, the same thing goes for children at schools. They would want to write home to parents to let them know what to avoid, fishes to avoid, and also symptoms to look out for so that if they recognize those symptoms, they can get early treatment so that they can get the best medical care possible.
This slide provides an example of a flyer discussing the effects, who are the high-risk groups, what to avoid, and the symptoms. While the Minamata disaster occurred in the late 50s and 60s, the flyer utilized more modern approaches with the addition of the QR code. Regardless, a flyer such as this would be the best method to spread message about mercury poisoning. These flyers could be posted in areas like markets, schools, hospitals, and clinics, as these locations have the highest people at risk. This concludes the presentation, and thank you for your time.